It would seem outside of the expertise of most CEOs. He goes on to talk about that issue more. So that is an issue from Norm. It goes to Norm.
Thanks, Norm.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody else have any comments that they'd like to make? Yes, Mr. Flint.
One is the end of the table of contents. Just make sure that when you finally do it, that you get the paging right. Like you've got application, permit, fee, review standards is page 4.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
It says here, application, permit, fee, review standards is on page 4, but I think it's actually on 5.
They're all page 5. Now that I look through it, the bottom of each page, they're all page 5.
No, mine says 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know, you must have a different color.
I got a different, mine, all 5.
I got all 5.
We'll make sure the index works.
Yeah. In your authority, you talk about Article 8, Part 2, Section 1 of the Maine Constitution. That article is about towns with charters and their ability to make ordinances. And then you've also got the provisions of 30A MRSA.
Bob, you gotta go slowly, I'm not as fast as you.
Okay, good. I would just strike that.
1.2,
Yeah, the article, not the whole thing. You're trying to state what the authority is, but we don't have a charter, so we need to probably delete that.
I have to write it down. So that goes slowly. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, and so then you've got MRSA, section 1601 and 1607. If you read that, that's about prison labor. I think it's somebody's, copy to something that's been altered.
Yeah.
The 301 is fine. It's about towns having the power to issue ordinances.
So I will just see that we check the citations.
You said page 4, but I don't have that.
This says page 2, actually. Authority, 102.
I usually go by the numbers on the left-hand side of the page. You're talking about 1.2.
Okay.
And that works for me. And that has always happened with the documents we deal with as we add.
3 days, 7 days. 1.4.
Yeah.
And what is
Must, as a planning board, examine when someone comes for a conditional use permit.
right?
Emission of dust, fly ash, or use permit. Correct in that interpretation?
Well, I thought we were trying to.
A group of things that people object to that can be caused by a mass gathering.
Exactly, right.
Okay,
Similar comment on item D, Article 9.6, which is industrial odors.
okay,
Is that commercial use? Is that also commercial? You got the reference in 9.6 is commercial facilities?
Yeah, it says industrial odors is what listed here in the draft.
Right, because the premise identification in 9.6 refer to commercial facilities, like it did in 9.4.
I think if you read the ordinance, it's again talking about industrial, but.
I know, but industrial doesn't necessarily mean.
It doesn't say commercial. No mention.
no, it doesn't.
That's it, there's nothing on that.
But we're concerned about more than just industrial odors. We're talking about odors coming off from the mass gathering.
Sure, yeah.
Other than that, I think it's good.
Thank you. Appreciate you having looked through the ordinance so carefully. seem very interested, shaking your head, nodding and stuff, and you got a camera on me. What do you got to say?
Nothing right now.
That's it?
No, just observing.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say? Yes, sure.
Can we respond to that email about the sound? That was asked if the town has the capacity to be able to rate
Oh.
a dB level.
Sure, you can respond to that, yeah.
Cell phones can do that accurately. We did with my son's wedding this summer. It was way too loud, and we said it's way too loud. They're like, oh, that's fine. We tested the dB with it, and it was 80 something. Like, it was crazy loud. So we proved to them, and we turned it down. So cell phones, everyone's cell phone can give a dB, and I bet at my house the dBs are very high with the racing that goes on right across from us.
So
I could level it and document it.
that was the opinion of the writer. It's not necessarily my opinion.
No,
It's just there was
no,
that
no,
opinion.
I'm
and
just
I
asking if we can
appreciate your-
address that issue, because it is an issue in this noise
Yeah.
in hours of operation of, whatever number it is. Page 8, the top of that. So I'm just bringing it forward.
Thank
There
you.
is a way to test it.
Thank you.
That was their question, I know,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
The
I'll let
only
someone else
point
know.
that I think Norman was making there is that you leave yourself open, go to court, is this person certified or licensed to read that meter to tell you? I mean, it's splitting hairs, but, yeah,
I don't know anything about
Yeah.
DB licensure, and
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
yeah. But that's, I didn't know you could do that with your phone.
Okay. No. I also wondered, looking down from page 8 in the middle, it's about, toilets. This is a very small thing. Toilets, 1 per 150. I just wondered if 1 per 100 made more sense, because we're talking about 100. That doesn't seem like very many toilets, but it's kind of a silly thing, but it was just,
Okay,
yeah, so that's, page 8, number E, sanitary facilities.
so what article number?
I probably have the wrong page numbers, because I didn't do this too, but,
Article number?
yeah.
Article
Under-
4.4.
It's 4.4.
Review standards, 4.4, but you gotta go pages forward to the, under noise and ornaments, it's C, to D, E, it's sanitary facilities. It's a small thing, but I just wonder if that's standard.
Why that number? Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, then I had one other thing. Okay, let me look at my thing. Well, I just wondered if you would consider this for 50 people and where the 100 came from.
That was the number we came up with, was 200, and 100.
Okay, I just wondered why this is occurring. What is the basis of why we're talking about this today?
Why are we, because there was a demand for a mass gathering ordinance. There was a cry out from, people near Sand Pond,
Yes.
especially in particular, to do something to control, loud noise and
Right.
mass gathering.
That's why I'm here.
So,
Yeah.
that's what we've done, is produce a response.
So I guess my question for that is there actually 100 people involved, so this is pertaining to that situation? Or is it more realistic to think there's 50 people involved in that situation?
You asked a very interesting question. I don't have an answer for it. I haven't been here, I haven't counted heads. I don't know. 50 seems like the sort of number that, people could put together fairly easily. it is, it's too low a number.
Yeah, okay, well, I just think 50 is actually a lot of cars and a lot of people already. And if 100 doesn't suit our needs at all, then we're kind of spinning, is what I guess I'm pointing at.
Well, there is an opinion that this ordinance is not needed for controlling what's going on right now.
Okay. And if that's true, then is there a problem in the town of Baldwin with gatherings?
We, as a planning board, have been asked to produce an ordinance. We're producing an ordinance.
Okay. Yeah, the noise ordinance, is there a state of Maine noise ordinance that the town of Baldwin could adopt?
Mike, we're going beyond my, what I know about here, and I wondered if you had any sort of response that you could give. No?
I really can't, on the noise ordinance side, in reference to the state of Maine or anything like that. Usually the ordinance stuff on noises is adopted by the towns, and it's done on a decibel basis. And usually has to do with shooting ranges. But that's about my extent, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
So I can't tell you, whether the state of Maine has some type of, ordinance, but it's done on a local basis.
Yep, okay.
Pretty
Why
sure
bring
it's
that up?
92 to
Because there was
94
a point
decibels.
saying we were following the state ordinances on other things, so why we can't follow, if there is a noise ordinance for the state of Maine, we could not adopt that to solve this problem.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
Simple, hopefully.
I could be
don't know.
mistaken, but I think it's 92 to 94
Could, so
decibels.
please address me, not
Sorry,
each other.
sorry. I could be mistaken, but I think it's 92 to 94 decibels, that they use for like rock crushers and sand pits and stuff like that.
It's
I-
78, I think.
I don't.
75 or
address
78.
Address me.
So, but I just wanna say, like, and maybe I'm one of the board members, but I don't see this as trying to solve some problem that's out there with regard to a particular facility. Like, the way I see this is, if you have 100 or 200 people gathering, you really should have the town's awareness, the town should be involved, other folks should be involved. Whether it applies to a particular situation or not, that's not what I'm thinking about. And if this doesn't result in any changes in anything that's currently going on, I'm okay with that. That's not why I'm trying to do this. I'm just looking at this as, if this is happening, this 100, 200 plus, these are reasonable rules for that. And so I'm not even thinking about whether this applies to something that's going on right now or not. And wouldn't advocate any changes to try to tailor it to address something that's going on right now or not.
I can agree with that, and I would also say I'm somebody who has, more than once put on a party for more than 100 people. My son's wedding, and I had a party for the main tree farm, and, you know, I mean, and I think that hit 200. We certainly intended it to.
Just had a birthday party that we invited at least 100 people, so we would have expected 100 people.
Yep.
People didn't show up, wasn't my fault. But, you know, in theory, we would have had to get, you know, had we actually counted the numbers, I think we were around 100, so.
Yeah, and I think it's a good idea for, in today's world, it isn't the world of 50 years ago. Today's world, it's good to have a mechanism to inform emergency medical services and fire department and so forth if this sort of thing's happening. Are there any other comments or suggestions? By the way, Norm, I read your email out, and we talked about it.
Good. If I could add one thing,
Sure, only one.
rather than, and this is just wool gathering, rather than messing around with audio measurements, audio level measurements, I wonder if it would be feasible to say that if you're playing music, it be done with unamplified instruments. If you wanna go to a concert with lots of audio and you can feel it in your chest, go to Portland. If you'd like to have a nice time and listen to some tunes and your unamplified things, that's maybe more in keeping with the so-called traditional rural values that we talked about in the old comprehensive plan, and we've been talking about coming up with a new comprehensive plan. I don't know if it's feasible, but
You know, Norm, it's something that bugs me as somebody who has hearing aids,
yeah,
that you go to a public meeting in a room this size and people want a microphone.
yeah,
You know, and it makes it so I can't hear them,
yeah.
because it's going through two microphones to get to my ears.
Double distortion, I
Double
guess.
distortion, exactly.
Yeah,
No, yeah, I mean, people just don't understand doing things without a microphone anymore.
but if you've got an amplifier, you wanna crank it, cause that's what audio guys do. That's
That's what
what
they
you
get paid
do.
to do.
And it's fun, and attack with the neighbor. I imagine that tree farm party was pretty rowdy one.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I think I read about that.
Yeah.
Showing off their chainsaws.
Yeah.
They got crazy at a certain point.
Oh, yeah, well, put a little extra two-cycle oil in there and make blue smoke too.
That's a great idea. I don't know how it goes down with the people.
I don't either, I just came up with it, I don't know if I like it or not. It's a possibility.
Okay, cool, good, thank you.
I think a lot of people live here as well, so they can crank the amplifiers because they can't do it in Portland,
That may be,
living with neighbors.
well, that's why I shoot my pistol in the backyard, cause if I lived in Portland, then yeah, it's a balance.
Exactly.
Mr. McNeil,
So my question, relative to what this lady was saying is that, so this ordinance or whatever proposed, where is this from, or who drew this up?
Michaela Jordan at Southern Maine Regional Planning and Development Commission.
Okay,
She's our ordinance writer.
so this is really just information to review, I mean, there's no votes or whatever being taken on this. I just think, like the lady said, to check and see what the state has, whether this is, milder than what the state might have on file, or whether it's more severe, but we give you an opportunity, I think, yeah, perhaps having an ordinance, but, kind of tone it down a little.
Tone this down?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, my first question when I looked at this is, I wonder about wedding receptions, because like
Yeah.
you said,
Yeah.
100 or 200, yeah, conceivably, you can have 100 or 200, so what is the procedure for that? You come down to the town to get a permit for that day, is that what you do?
Yeah.
Months ahead, almost. Yeah. No, I just wondered.
Sure,
But this was drawn up by her
It
then.
has to do with that.
just a second.
This was drawn up by Southern Maine.
Well,
Yeah,
with us
so
though, that's
we,
not-
with cooperation and involvement of the planning board,
Okay.
very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have written in this that exceptions for weddings and funerals,
yes,
so that takes care of that, right?
yeah, there you go.
unless there's more than 200 people. It's pretty popular gather, big gather.
Good?
Yep.
Family reunions should be added, maybe. Seriously, that, all around the pond, so many people have family reunions
Yeah,
every year.
Yeah.
That's all we have, right at our property. It's not that loud.
anybody else have anything you want to say?
One more thing.
Yes, sure.
We did send a letter to the select board, my husband Peter Wolf and I, Gail Wolf, addressing this noise issue of the race cars every weekend, all day at a level of a chainsaw in our yard all day long. And that was supposed to be addressed at one of your meetings, and this was supposed to have some solutions. I don't know if this is the solution that has happened since June, but I would love to see more options of a solution. I'm just saying, because every single time it happens, we smell rubber and the scent is nauseating and the sounds are horrendous, and it's not fair to all the Santon residents.
So,
And we brought this to your attention, and we'd like to see something done.
so I'm gonna do something that I hate to see people do. I'm gonna pull a bureaucratic trick, which is not my responsibility. We do not enforce the town ordinances. We write them with what happens to here after a public hearing. The planning board will decide whether we want to revise this ordinance, whether we want to recommend it to the selectmen. If we recommend it to the selectmen, then they schedule a town meeting or a special town meeting, and it goes to the voters to decide. So, we don't enforce.
Okay. No, that's
I
totally
wish-
fair, that's fine.
I wish the code enforcement officer hadn't left the room, but he did. And he is the one who really has the answer. I always hate it when I do this, when I say, yeah, you're speaking to part of town government, so to speak, but this isn't our department, so I can't, do anything for it. I hate that, but it's,
No, I totally appreciate that, I thank you for pointing that out.
yeah, so, we're doing what we can from our direction. But I agree with, David, that, I always do this to Bob. Bob's the one I point to when people want enforcement. It's Bob. No,
Thank you, I'm sorry to be attacking, it's just the frustration builds from the whole 4 months of we move here, and it's just, what is this? So,
I get it.
It's not, I understand, sorry.
I get it. I also agree with David. I don't think this is necessarily the solution for it. I think that we already have ordinances that take care of this.
Okay,
But,
I appreciate that. I will say no more. You're
Okay.
all clap and stand up and go finally.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments they want to make?
I got a bunch of stuff, but I'll do it after the public hearing and
Okay,
just technical stuff.
okay,
Which one we do now.
when we discuss it as a board.
Yeah.
Yep, fine. So, then I declare the public hearing closed. And then what I'm going to do is open the planning board meeting. I want to welcome Mariella Crawford as our newest member of the planning board. And Terry Markovich is our clerical note-taking